Hello, beautiful soul family. Rebecca here, your vibe mentor, bringing you another video on how to raise your vibration so you can live your best life. So I am noticing a lot of themes, and I'm sure I'm going to say that in a lot of videos, in all of the sessions that I am having throughout all of them, every single one of them. Beautiful, divine, gorgeous, good-hearted people are coming to me for assistance with blocks that keep them from progressing towards the life that they want to live, towards their life purpose, or towards abundance. And what is very fascinating is that the common link, the common block is unified among all of these sessions, that there has not been one who has not experienced some level of complex trauma, otherwise known, or you could say AKA, also known as the unworthiness wound. And it is fascinating to me how we can go through our lives living in a mentality or a personality or an identity that is defined by what we experienced earlier in life. And here's the really fascinating thing. As part of sort of this theme that has been coming to me around the body and the power of the body and our creator source energy in our body, that the first part of each of our DNA's sections starts with God eternal within the body. So there is a theme coming through around the body. And what the most recent video, the one I posted yesterday, was around the fact that we are piezoelectric. And so we know that we're electromagnetic beings. Well, our bones are literally, and our DNA are also piezoelectric. So it's a type of electricity. And what creates the electrical charge in a piezoelectric crystal, which we are also crystalline. Again, I will link that video if you have not yet seen it, even though I'm talking about it a lot lately. But it's very fascinating. We are giant crystals. We are intended to be conduits of this energy, that the source of the energy is within us and not necessarily outside of us, and that we are a certain type of electricity. The piezoelectric energy, the charge is created through stress and pressure. That there is latent heat created in a piezoelectric crystal when it is put under pressure. And that is what causes it to create the electrical charge, given that we are also piezoelectric. Imagine now that the stress and the pressure of the lives that we signed up for, and here's one of the fascinating things is, beautiful beings, gorgeous, good-hearted people who would be positive stewards of the world's resources are being held back by the very thing that has made you more popular, or I'm sorry, more powerful. Not sure where that came from. There are no accidents. So for whoever that was for, take it or leave it, I guess. But when I stepped into this work, if you look at when the channel was sort of officially started, about a year ago when I first started creating videos regularly, my intention was to assist, you could say, light workers or starseeds. I like to just say good-hearted people who have good intentions, right? Because there are people who don't identify that, who still have purpose. Every single person on earth has a purpose. And so my mission has been to help you step into your purpose, because that is what is going to help you find the fulfillment, the peace, the joy, the abundance. The life you dream of is available to you through your purpose. What I found was, as I did this work and I meet with all of you, every single one of us is held back by the unworthiness wound. And we don't even see it. We don't know how it's playing out in our lives. And so I know I've told you pretty much everything I've said so far. What I really want to tell you today is, what does that look like in your life? What are the behaviors or the symptoms, if you will, to look out for? And if you've questioned whether or not this is true, when I go through this list, I promise you will realize, holy crap, this is dictating my life. And what you find is, when you start to heal this, you peel back all of these layers of coping mechanisms and self-protection armor, you find that who you thought you were is vastly different than who you were made to be. And when I first healed, the image of a sort of a sprout sprouting out of the ground was what first came to mind, that I felt so raw and so uncertain of who I was. And for a moment, there was that sort of existential crisis, like, if I'm not this, who am I, right? If I'm not a fixer, if I'm not hyper independent, if I'm not self-sufficient, who am I? And that quickly passed. It was less than a day before I realized I am a blank slate. That I get to recreate myself to be whoever I feel guided to be. Whoever I was meant to be will come through. And so it's a good thing. Yes, you feel a little bit vulnerable being so fresh and so raw, but when you've gone through the healing, you have the boundaries. And my daughter came to me the other day and she had a little scrape on her finger and she said, "Mom, the skin is getting hard and turning brown." And instantly I had the connection to the raw, fresh skin that is underneath there, that is healing and growing, that will replace and completely heal her finger, is being protected by the scab, by that hard, ugly skin that is very temporary and very necessary. And that is what we create around us. These heart walls, they're there for a reason. They're not just going to fall away and we're going to be exposed to the elements and be so vulnerable that we are taken advantage of, but rather we are strong enough and we have the protective armor to grow into who we are meant to be while we are protected. Not to mention God eternal within the body. You are protected. Literally, your body is the mother holding you. That as long as you're tapping into source, you will be protected. So there's no fear in healing these things. So, okay, let's get to the point, right? So these are the behaviors / symptoms / coping mechanisms / whatever you want to call them that are indicative of complex trauma or the unworthiness wound. So if you've ever felt unsafe, unseen, unheard, or uncared for an extended period of time at any point throughout your life, this is how it's going to show up in your life. So let me get back to my notes here. So the symptoms of complex trauma / the unworthiness wound, also known as shame. So shame is interconnected with complex trauma and the unworthiness wound, right? So there's feelings of guilt and shame. We have difficulty controlling our emotions. We may feel extreme emotions or no emotions. And disassociation is no better than feeling a lot of emotion, right? We may have periods of loss in attention or concentration, also known as disassociation. Physical symptoms such as headaches, dizziness, pain, stomach aches. I really often wonder if all of these ascension symptoms are partially driven by unhealed wounds. Certainly solar energy and the Schumann resonance and all these other things are affecting us as well, but this can be a factor. You may cut yourself off from friends and family, also known as hermit mode, right? Difficult having relationships, right? Difficulty having relationships is not just because you are spiritual and you can't relate to them. It's also because we don't see the value in them. We don't appreciate that even though they're not on the spiritual path, that they always have a value and a worth and a purpose and intention. And so our difficulty comes in that we are protecting ourselves and we tell ourselves a story about those relationships. There's many other reasons why you may have a difficult relationships. Trust is usually a big factor. We may have destructive, risky behaviors such as self-harm, alcohol use, drug abuse, societal thoughts. Hopefully we're stepping out of that as we're onto the spiritual path, but there are needs for coping mechanisms for these big emotions that we can't tolerate. And so you shouldn't feel bad about these things. Just know that these will fall away. All of these will fall away as you step into the healing. We may have rigid core beliefs around I'm bad, I'm weak, I'm unlovable, undeserving, inept, unattractive, stupid, powerless, or worthless. Now keep in mind, you may know at a prefrontal cortex level that you are valuable and worthy, but at the same time, you have a program in your limbic brain or in your subconscious brain that is telling you you are not enough. And so there's a vast difference between I know I'm valuable, I know I'm a child of the Creator, I know I am worthy and deserving, and yet I don't behave that way. I don't choose these things for myself. I don't truly believe it at a cellular level, right? We may be excessively dogmatic, zealous, defensive, or rigid, habitual self-centeredness and egotism. Again, a coping mechanism, not something to feel bad about, but you were raised to only be able to take care of yourself, right? Or to believe that only you would take care of you and that nobody else cared about you enough to take care of you. You may be hyper vigilant, hyper independent, inability to receive, inability to ask for what you're worth, fear of rejection, punishment, criticism. Again, the physical symptoms always come along with this because there is disease here, right? That we may have, where are we at here? We may choose menial jobs below our personal capability or avoid responsibility. We may have one or more active addictions like fat, sugar, carbohydrates, work, spending, gambling, pornography, working out, codependent relationships, emotional states, rage, excitement, spiritual ecstasy, sexual arousal or release, right? A compulsion to rescue the needy or the disadvantaged. Championing or identifying with the underdog. Habitually avoiding eye contact or being apologetic or defensive about it. Swinging from extremes. Maybe we fast and then we binge eat. We're just not able to be balanced, right? We may have excessive social isolation, like I mentioned earlier, or a compulsion to socialize. Notice the extremes. You may swing from one to the other. We may have few or no real friends, or be constantly drawn to others who are wounded, needy, or not recovering or healing and working on their healing path. We may have a general suspicion or a mistrust of others. We may be excessively sensitive, right? Sensitivity and empathy can come from the trauma, the need to hyper attune to the world around you so that you can avoid pain, avoid being hurt, right? And so if we are hyper attuned to the people around us, then we will put on a mask and not rock the boat and be whatever they need us to be so that we're not causing trouble. We may have excessive concern with personal or social blame or fault finding. We may perceive neutral feedback as criticism or wrongly assume unspoken criticism. We may feel irrationally guilty or anxious around earned success, the imposter syndrome, right? Feelings of being a fraud or phony, obsession about my rights or I deserve or equality or fairness, endlessly focusing on past mistakes in public and private. Where are we at here? Habitually putting others' needs before yourself. And I think this is one of the most common in the spiritual community. Obsessive concern with personal, professional, social dwellings or appearances. Compulsive perfectionism, a drive to win, rarely being able to buy anything nice for yourself. Notice the extreme. So you may buy all the nice stuff so that you can feel valuable and worthy, or you may not feel valuable and worthy enough to buy the nice stuff for yourself, right? Compulsively shading the truth or lying directly or by omission, denying it to avoid expected ridicule, criticism, or disapproval. So even the slightest little white lies that we may feel are necessary to avoid conflict are part of this. That again, it's wearing a mask. You may say, no, I wore a blue shirt yesterday, when really you wore red because that's what you think that person wants to hear. And it has nothing to do with anything but your feeling of fear of trauma or fear of rejection or criticism, fear of pain, essentially, right? Notable self-neglect, resisting or avoiding appropriate medical care, never seeing a doctor, a dentist, a gynecologist, or an eye specialist, not getting illnesses checked up on, I guess, or checkups, not getting or taking prescription medications, poor hygiene, right? Avoiding self-assessment for psychological wounds or true personal discovery, just like this. So if you've made it this far, congratulations, right? Choosing unhealthy diets, habits, or lack of exercise or toxic environments, ignoring, deflecting, minimizing, or explaining and analyzing and joking about this, right? Deflecting or discounting or rejecting deserved compliments or being very hard on myself, right? That we feel that somehow punishing ourselves is going to make us better. And so if we do something wrong, we turn around and punish ourselves or we berate ourselves. We have a lot of negative self-talk, right? We're deflecting, discounting, or rejecting deserved compliments. We are chronically giving time and energy to others and getting little or nothing in return. under the guise of being selfless when really it is self-harming. We are repeatedly choosing or justifying and tolerating relationships or situations and environments that promote shame and abuse. We are triggered by exercises like this. We are repeatedly taking risks and result in self-harm, humiliation, or loss of social respect, denying or justifying an active addiction, rarely requesting or demanding that one wants or is doing so anxiously, or expecting rejection rather than asserting calmly, right? Tolerating or justifying a core belief that I don't deserve or expect success, love, security, comfort, friends, or nice things. Being timid, passive, quiet, reserved, or aggressive, self-centered, and or a bully. I would say I identified as being passive and easygoing for a long time. When I really look back at my childhood before a lot of the trauma, I actually was pretty assertive and even gregarious. The not setting or enforcing holistic, healthy limits for oneself, self-sabotage, repeatedly setting oneself up for failure and disappointment, frustration, or losses, and feeling or saying, I can't help it, it doesn't matter, I don't care, I don't deserve it, right? Frequently choosing long-suffering victim or sainthood or martyr roles in key relationships and social settings and not questioning why. I will add to that remaining in the victim mentality and choosing not to do anything about it, full well knowing that that is a choice. So here are a few lies that the trauma demon will tell us. I like to think of the trauma brain or the trauma voice as a little entity that sits on our shoulder and kind of barks in our ear. Who are you to want to step out? That's not safe. You shouldn't do that. That's risky. Why would you think that moving to this new role is something that you deserve? You should be happy with what you have. How ungrateful are you for staying there, for not making that shift? Right? That this little voice will tell you these lies. It will say, I am unlovable, I am worthless, I don't matter, I am defective, or I'm stupid, I'm a failure, I can't do anything right, or I am bad. That was the one that was my program for the longest time, which I no longer have, right? If someone says, you're a nice person, the response is, what do they want? They are just being nice to me because they want something. If they knew the real me, they wouldn't say that. I'm a phony. I'm selfish. I'm ugly. I don't deserve a good life. I don't deserve my dreams. I don't deserve to be happy. Because I'll eventually fail at life, or I'll mess things up, or I can't do it right anyways, so why even try? And if you criticize me in any way, you're rejecting me, and you think I am worse than you. And people people who question my ideas, they think I'm stupid. That was another one that I struggled with. People who are nice to me probably say bad things about me behind my back. Deep down, I think that everyone I get close to will eventually abandon me. And I will sometimes abandon people, because if I abandon them first, then they can't hurt me. If I spend time relaxing or dining on something that interests me, then I'm being selfish. No one will ever love me unconditionally. I'm too flawed. I should be happy with a relationship that gives me a few breadcrumbs, because that's probably the best I can get. So I know I talk a lot about trauma, the unworthiness wound, and it keeping you from stepping into your life purpose, which is everything you've ever dreamed of. And I know that there's always a sense of doubt that maybe that doesn't apply to me. So I hope that after you have stuck through this list, that you have made note of how this is playing out in your life so that you can start to catch it and correct it. I will say that because you're dealing with the subconscious, because you're dealing with a program that has dictated your entire life until this point, it is impossible to heal alone. And I don't say that just so that you'll come work with me. I say that so that you will get help, whether it's me or someone else. We need you. I can't build the new earth alone. And I know obviously I'm not doing this alone, but if you're here and watching this, it's because you're part of the new earth construction team. And we need you to heal so that you can step into your purpose, so that you can shine fully. And I will add to this, one of the realizations that I came to after going through a lot of different brain spotting sessions and really tasting the freedom that is on the other side of this healing journey, that I realized that not only was I afraid of the rejection and the criticism and the pain that others might cause as I stepped out and I asked for what I worth or what I was worth, or I spoke my truth, or I spoke up, or I was seen in general. It was not just the fear of that, because that wasn't initially part of the fear, but behind that was also the fear that I know that we have big energies. We trigger people. We may even walk into a room and not say anything or do anything, and instantly people will say, I don't like you. Because we shine brightly, because we are big, because we have been brought here for a very significant purpose. Don't let that trauma demon right now tell you you don't have a purpose. It's not true. That you partially may also have the fear of shining so brightly that it intimidates others. And yes, when you shine brightly, you cast a shadow. And if people are in it, they don't like that. But guess what? That's okay. And we learn when we're super sensitive that we trigger people and it feels uncomfortable. And I want to fix you because if I fix you, then it makes me feel better. But also at the same time, if I fix you, I feel better about myself. I have more value and worth. We can start to put that down and say, well, I feel the pain and discomfort that you're feeling, but I'm okay with that because it's not mine. And I know that the weight of feeling like I have to make everybody else happy and everybody else's happiness is my responsibility means that I'm carrying the weight of the world and all my energy goes to fixing you. When that's not what I was asked to do. The divine asked me to actually rest in stillness and in peace and in trust and faith and knowing that I am cared for and I am loved. So yes, I will feel your feeling for a moment and I will recognize that it's not mine and I will process it and I will release it. And I will say, as a brain spotting facilitator, when we do that work, you learn, your body learns, after it's released its own trauma, it learns how to process things in a way that is so soft and so easy and so effortless that there's no pain anymore. That you can feel it and you can sit with it, and for seconds, minute max, it is moved through. So I'm telling you all of this so that you can see that you are a gift to the world. The world needs that special gift that only you have to offer. And we, collectively, as the good-hearted people who are trying to build the new systems of the new earth, we need you. So if you can't do it for you, do it for others, even though that would be a trauma response. If it gets you into healing, so be it. Step out and ask for what you're worth. Know that you deserve the happiness that you dream of. Your dreams are your compass. They will take you where you need to go. And all you need to do is commit to the healing path. So with that, I will leave you. I love you very much. Please do subscribe if you have not already so that you can see more videos like this that will continue to help you on your healing journey. And if you're ready to dive in, check out this video for continued support and education. Please do like, subscribe, and share if you've appreciated this video. It does help to keep the channel going. All right. I love you guys, and I'll see you on the next video. Namaste.